r/askreddit. What generally well-liked celebrity or athlete has had a dark past that many of us may not know about? NBA legend Karl Malone had a child with a 13-year-old when he was a sophomore in college. He denies paternity and has never publicly commented on it despite DNA confirmation. The son, Demetris Bell, was an NFL player for 5 years. Said he only met his father on one occasion after he graduated high school, when Malone told him it was too late for a father-son relationship and he would have to make his way on his own. Damn, that is cold. Probably for the better, honestly. Starting a father-son relationship with a shitbag dad as an adult is a horrible idea. Jack Nicholson found out at age 37 that the woman he thought was his sister was really his mother. She was 18 years old when she gave birth to him. The woman he thought was his other sister was really his aunt. Because his mother was so young when she gave birth, her parents chose to raise Jack as their own son, and thus everyone thought his mother was really his sister. And he didn't find this out from family. Time magazine was researching the actor and found this out and then revealed it to him. Same thing happened to Eric Clapton. He was raised by his grandparents and led to believe his mother was his sister. Phil Lewis aka Mr. Mosby killed a woman in a car accident while he was drunk. He didn't know how to use the PRNDL.
Would you like ham or food?
Richard Pryor was born to a prostitute who abandoned him at age 10. Raised in a brothel by his grandmother, who was the madam. Raped at 6 by a neighbor. Molested by a priest. Expelled from school at 14. I feel like finishing off that list with expelled from school at 14 is rather anticlimactic. I'm not sure how well known this is, but since I haven't seen anyone mention it yet, Mark Ruffalo aka the Hulk. Apparently he found out he had a brain tumor right around the time when his wife was about to give birth to their first child. Then his brother was murdered. Either that or odd, I'm not sure. He was also in a bad financial situation for a long time until he got the Marvel role. Yeah man, Ruffalo really had to work to get into Hollywood too. I remember reading that he was rejected at over 600 auditions before landing his first part. That's rough, man. Gordon Ramsay's father was a violent drunkard who regularly abused him and his mother physically and emotionally. Supposedly one of his favorite things to do was call Gordon a gay little boy because cooking was for poofs. Eventually, his father just up and left, changed his name and everything, leaving behind his mother to raise 2 boys by herself. Things eventually got better for Gordon himself, but much worse for his brother, who got addicted to heroin. I think I also read somewhere that his brother-in-law and father-in-law stole a bunch of his money and royally fucked him over. His wife doesn't talk to most of her family anymore because of it. Tim Allen, mainly known from Tool Time. Cocaine smuggler. I like that Tool Time is Tim Allen's claim to fame. I like that Tool Time is actually his character Tim Taylor's show on the real show Home Improvement, yet it's what we remember. Matthew Broderick killed a mother and her daughter when he crossed into the wrong lane and collided head-on with a Volvo. He was fined $175. To be fair, there were apparently no drinking or drugs involved. He was tested in the hospital he woke up in and is said to have had a small stroke or the crash caused him to have a concussion and no memory of the accident. I actually feel so bad for him if the stroke part is true. Imagine waking up and having people tell you that you killed a mother and her child and you just have no memory of it. That's absolutely horrible. Will Smith was arrested and charged with a slew of criminal charges in 1989. Assault, aggravated assault and criminal conspiracy after he sat to the side and watched his bodyguard beat a record promoter so badly that he broke his eye socket and caused him to go blind. In the spirit of the season, Bob Ross was once a master sergeant in the US Air Force and the first sergeant at the US Air Force Clinic at Eielson Air Force Base in Alaska. He hated having to yell at his soldiers and vowed upon leaving the armed forces never to again. So he took up painting and became super chill, and you know the rest of the story. Reportedly that was a public persona and he jealously guarded his private life. I've read that he wasn't a bad guy, but he wasn't the personality we came to know. He knew what he was doing building up his brand and was aggressive in his dealing residually with regard to control of his name and image. Few get rich through public television, but he attached his name to enough things sold in stores that he never wanted for money. Brad Pitt had a 4-year relationship with Juliette Lewis. She was 16 years old, while Pitt was 26 when their relationship began in 1989.
Objection!
Jerry Seinfeld dated a 17-year-old when he was 38. What's the deal with statutory rape? So you're seeing someone, Jerry? Yeah, nothing big. How old is she? 17. A girl that Ashton Kutcher was dating was murdered by an alleged serial killer. He stabbed her in the neck so many times that a spinal cord was the only thing keeping her head attached to her body. Kutcher went to see her that night after she wasn't picking up the phone, and when he peeked through the window he saw a pool of what he thought was red wine. He figured she was mad at him for an argument they had earlier and got drunk out of frustration, but the pool he saw was her blood. This isn't dark, but rather a lesser known fact about Ashton Kutcher. He has a twin brother with cerebral palsy. Apparently he wasn't expected to survive as an infant and has had a few other close calls. Joaquin Phoenix was raised in a cult called the Children of God, and his family changed their last name to Phoenix to symbolize their new life after leaving said cult. When I quit my job I'm changing my last name to Trailblazer. Is your first name Chivy? No, it's Portland. Marv Albert, who has been one of the most prominent NBA play-by-play commentators for years, forced a woman to give him oral sex. He was convicted as a result of bite marks on her body, as well as semen at the crime scene. A different woman also accused him of sexual assault, claiming she showed up to his hotel room to help him send a fax, only to find him wearing only silk panties and a garter belt. He pleaded guilty to assault and battery and was fired from NBC, but reinstated after 20 months and still commentates on games today. One of the most asked questions about sports TV is how the hell does Marv Albert still have a job? Not only is he a ag, he's bad at his job. If you watch him do an NBA game, he gets names wrong all the time and seems to not have a great understanding of the game. He's only still there because his voice is familiar and iconic. Woody Harrelson's father Charles Harrelson was an American organized crime figure and hitman who was convicted of assassinating federal judge John H. Wood Jr. This was the first assassination of a federal judge in the 20th century. During an interview in November 1988, Woody revealed that he visited his father regularly in federal prison, though he still harbored mixed feelings for him, saying, "My father is one of the most articulate, well-read, charming people I've ever known. Still, I'm just now gauging whether he merits my loyalty or friendship. I look at him as someone who could be a friend more than someone who was a father." Charles also killed several others throughout the 60s and 70s, was accused of being involved in the JFK assassination, and attempted to escape prison in 1995 but failed. In the novel No Country for Old Men, Sheriff Bell says of the dope dealers, "Here a while back in San Antonio they shot and killed a federal judge." Cormac McCarthy set the story in 1980. In 1979, federal judge John Howland Wood was shot and killed in San Antonio by Texas freelance contract killer Charles Harrelson, father of Woody Harrelson who plays Carson Wells in the film. Keanu Reeves' girlfriend gave birth to their stillborn child in 1999. They then broke up due to grief, and in 2001 she died from a car accident. Keanu has had a luck run. His best friend killed himself, if I remember right, around the time of the stillborn. Might have been an overdose. I can't find the link, but I recall reading this on Reddit at some point. River Phoenix. That was a drug overdose. And all it with his sister. Depression/suicidal pretty sure, and childhood abusive I think. Don't ask me for more about it though cause I don't remember, and I don't feel like going down the Wikipedia rabbit hole today. Clive Barker once had a fan come up to him at a book signing, produce a razor blade, and slashed both his own wrists, all for him. Barker responded by pressing the fan's wrists down, pushing the cuts against the books. He staunched them enough to save his life and even scrawled his own signature on the kids' books in the blood before paramedics got there. What the actual f***? That's some horrifying and heroic right there. I screamed and panicked. Not a bad option. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for I upload daily and suggest what subreddit I should cover next. Thank you and happy travels.